Hey guys, yeah, I'm sorry. Hey Neil, Josh, how you doing today? Let's see here. Okay, let's see. I got caught up doing something else with my puppy, and honestly, I looked up the clock and saw what time it was, and as you notice, I didn't even bother playing the music today. So sorry, gentlemen. Okay, Biden and the Democrats, they are really going out of their way to thumb their nose at Trump. And before I get to that, guys, I live in Florida. I'm not supposed to be sitting here at 32-degree weather. Okay. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. It is 32 degrees out with a feel like of 36. I'm sorry, 32 degrees out, the feel like of 22. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is too damn cold. Oh, you got a migraine this morning, Ramen? Oh, no. Oh, I tell you, well, when I got up I was not feeling good yesterday. Um, I could not. I had the chills. I didn't eat. I only ate like half my dinner last night. Didn't even feel like eating that, but I'm not going to make the wife eat alone. And if you ever see a rib recipe that calls for marinating your ribs and Dr. Pepper and then marinating them in Dr. Pepper for 24 hours and then putting a brown sugar based uh, dry rub on them and then baking them, don't do it. Don't do it. It, it is the most thoroughly confusing flavor combination I've ever had. It's absolutely unbelievable. I took one bite of it and it was like the it was like what and the wife looked at me and she goes, "What's wrong? Don't you like it?" And I told her, I don't know. And she took a bite of hers and she's looking at it and she's like, no. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it's like, no. She got up and grabbed a bottle of Old Baby Ray's out of the refrigerator and poured that on her plate and finished eating her ribs that way. But yeah, don't do that Dr. Pepper rib mix because it was absolutely miserable, and don't do it. It is horrible. Okay, Spanky, why are you now wanting out? I know you just woke up from your nap and now you want out. Well, I didn't. She finished hers with the Sweet Baby Rays. I ate half of my piece of rib and that was it. It's like I said, I wasn't feeling good. Oh God, is it cold out there? I don't have to worry about you running outside, do I, Smokey? You're not going to run outside in that cold weather, are you? Uh-uh. You're a smart kitty. You want to stay inside. But you got a litter box, Spanky doesn't. So he's got to go outside. Okay, got my blanket back on, and now I'll sit back down. Hey, Ramen, I will try almost any recipe at least once. Because sometimes you find a real winner one, and sometimes strange, what we would look at as being strange combination of foods or uses for stuff works out really well. I've got a couple of those recipes where stuff that you wouldn't think works out does. But yeah, I'm cold. Ramen, what's your temp out wherever you're at? Like I said, right now I'm at 32 with that feels like a 22. I'm always open for anything, Josh. Um, I'd misplay 56. Oh, I would kill for 56 right now. Oh, I would absolutely kill for 56 degrees right now. Oh. We had to go out last night and put blankets over the all my wife's flowers, the ones we couldn't get moved into the garage over the weekend. Yes, she's got that many flowers, and we couldn't get them, and potted plants, and we couldn't get them all moved into the garage. And now she's talking about wanting me to buy insulation board, and so we can make a portable greenhouse, sort of, to put over their plants. 32 with a high of 41. Yeah, I think that's about what I'm supposed to get today, Nils, a high of 41. Oh, I'm in Northwest Florida. We're only supposed to get to 41 degrees today. So, okay, that was this morning. That's what it said. Now they're saying it's supposed to get up to 48. So, that's okay. She wants something that we can put up when it gets cold and tear down and store in the shed. Yeah, hey, Josh, I can always find something to do inside, even if it's sit down, watch TV, or read a book, or nap. That's my favorite cold weather exercise right there. Stretch out in a comfortable chair in my lazy boy, pull a blanket up over my legs, and take a nap. I was going to bake some bread today, but finish baking bread today, but nah, it's too cold in this house to do any bread baking. I'll never get the bread to rise. So it ain't going to happen. Okay. Weather forecast. Oh, something I didn't find out until after the stream yesterday. I don't know if Jack's mother died the other night. And then this morning, Monkey had got word that a friend of his died yesterday or the day before. So we won't be seeing Jack for a couple of weeks while he's finishes taking care of his father's death and starts working on taking care of stuff for his mother. So any prayer, I'm sure Jack would appreciate any prayers. If you've got a few extra dollars, you can donate to his StreamYard stream thing, then I'm sure he would appreciate it. So death is not cheap. I remember when my mom died, and it's been 7 years now since my mom has died. And it took, my older sister was the executor, and it took well over a year for her to get everything settled. And by the time it was all said and done, it ended up it ended up costing quite a bit of money to get everything settled. And that was even after selling the house, which was all but paid off. And so, yeah, the money was, it's expensive. It's expensive on the family for you to die now. The days of a $15,000 or $20,000 to cover a death, funeral, and everything is long gone. You're looking at $50,000 to $75,000 now. So anyway, why do? Okay. Trump has stated one of his things he was going to do is look at all the January 6th people who are sitting in jail, been convicted and such, or been convicted, served their time, and have gotten out, running pardons, commutations, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, one thing I don't like about pardons and commutate, well, pardons especially, is you have to admit that you were guilty of that crime to accept the pardon. But the Biden administration is wanting to charge 200 more people before Trump takes office. Justice Department officials say they're still weighing charges against an additional 200 people for the roles in the January 6, 2021 riot, despite Joe Biden's imminent exit from the White House. Among the suspects referred by the FBI remain uncharged. 60 people are suspected of assaulting or impeding law enforcement, marking a possible escalation of what Attorney General Merrick Garland has called for one of the department's most complex and resource-intensive investigations. Merrick Garland, if you'd put half the effort into tracking down terrorists in the United States, if you'd put half the effort into tracking down illegals in the United States, if you'd put half the effort that you're putting into this January 6th fiasco into solving real crime in the United States, we'd be a hell of a lot better off. And you have wasted a lot of resources. This is absolutely insane that they are still 4 years later. They are still going after people for January 6th, 2021. No, Neil, I missed that. Are you sure they said that, not Madam Vice President? This is absolutely insane. 4 years later. Remember, this is the same administration that when they walked in, they threw out charges against Black Panther people for standing outside of voting booths, voting areas, not booths, but polling places with clubs that had admitted to their crimes. All they needed to do is go before the judge for sentencing. And this administration walked in and threw all that stuff out the window, dropped all charges. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me that somebody did slip up and call her Madam President. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Trying to make her feel good one last time. Because she's got, let's see, today's the 7th. She's got a whole 13 days. And let's see here. It's 10:30. It's almost 10:30 on the Eastern time zone. So 13 days, 1.5 hours as vice president. And then she goes back to being a has-been. She and Mike Pence can sit there and have drinks together and shake their heads, wondering what could have been. Mike Pence, if he'd been a better, more loyal vice president, and Kamala, if she'd been just a smarter person. Josh, I have had to wonder after watching that yesterday, which I did stream on Rumble, but I had to wonder, did she not have a few drinks prior to stepping in there? And was purple for the women? Was purple the dress code of the day? Seemed a lot of women were wearing purple yesterday there during that. And it surprised me. Now, I did miss the carrying in of the leather bound boxes, carrying all that stuff in. but not everything fit in that box. I mean, did you see what Ohio presented? It was a big framed certificate. There's no way that certificate fit in that little box, in that 1 foot by 1 foot by 12 by 12 by 12 box that they carried that stuff in. There's no way one of them fit in one of those boxes. I did have, something that struck me as odd. Why, and maybe you guys can explain this to me. Why did they cheer? Why did the Democrats stand up and cheer when Kamala lost? I'm talking about the official count of the Electoral College votes. And another thing, not a single Democrat, not a single one, stood up and challenged a single state's votes. Not a single one. Much unlike all previous counts when a Republican was going to win. Remember when Trump was going to win and Trump's first election? And it seemed like every other state that voted for Trump, some Democrats stood up and filed objections. And Biden had to slap them all down. That I will have to say, though, I don't know which one I enjoyed more. Watching Al Gore preside over GW winning or Kamala presiding over Trump's win. I don't know which one I really and truly enjoyed more watching. Because Al Gore they're both dangerous vice presidents with very dangerous ideas. The difference was Al Gore was a smart dangerous. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Al Gore was a smart dangerous. Whereas Kamala, well, she's a drunk, stupid dangerous. So once again, I don't know who I was more afraid of. But I tell you, this nonsense of Biden having Merrick Garland wanting to charge 200 more people over January 6th is absolutely ridiculous. Now, as we know, let's see, today's the 7th. In 3 days, Trump is going to be sentenced by Judge Merchan. Now, Merchan has already said that there's not going to be any fines or jail or anything else. He's just going to basically be confirming that Trump is a convicted felon 34 times over. Yeah, good one, Raman. You're probably right about that. I so hope that today or tomorrow, the New York Appeals Court hands down their decision and throws out all 34 charges, throws out the guilty I hope they do. Or 2 minutes after Merchan announces his sentence, quote unquote, they release theirs saying, yeah, disregard. That ain't right. DJT won appeals on all 34 charges. Preferably, I'd rather see it happen before than after, but the Democrat, happen before, that just saves the ignominy, the Democrats having a few minutes of cheering. We told you he was a convicted felon. We told you. I don't know what do I want to give the Democrats, Harry Sisson and crew, The View, and all these other people, CNN, MSNBC, do I want to give them the chance to legitimately call Trump a convicted felon? Do I want to give them that chance only to see it washed away 30 seconds later or a couple minutes later? Watch their cheers go to tears? Or do I just want to take it all away from them and see Trump, avoid the embarrassment of having that officially on the records? I think I'd rather, as much as, I would love to have a cup full of liberal tears, having that jerked out from underneath their feet. I think I'd rather see it happen before. And that way, to save Trump the embarrassment. And the cat calls and everything else. I really think I'd rather see that. Now, one of Trump's promises, and he's stated this many times, on day one, he's going to be signing drill, baby, drill. He wants to see people, oil companies, out drilling for oil and getting our nation back to energy independence. Well, the Biden administration has found a way to make it all but impossible for him to do that. And I'm hoping that the Republicans in Congress file a lawsuit the second Biden does this. Or I wish they'd already done it. Biden permanently bans offshore drilling in 600 million acres of ocean, making a Trump reversal difficult. Joe Biden on Monday announced an executive action, and this pisses me off to no end. This was an executive action. When Trump did executive actions, the Democrats filed lawsuits and got his executive orders overturned. Even when his executive order overturned a previous executive order, the Democrats still got his overturned. An executive action now permanently ban future offshore drilling and gas development in parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans in a way that could be especially difficult for the incoming Trump administration to undo. Biden's executive action will ban new oil and gas leasing, and we know who's behind this. It's all these tree huggers, AOC, the people who want to, by 2035, have no gas cars on the road, everything being EV, even though there's no way in 10 years our country can be entirely EV. There's no way. But that's the goal that they want. The ban will prevent oil companies from leasing waters for new drilling along the entire East Coast, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, the coast of Washington, Oregon, and California, and portions of Alaska's northern Bering Sea. My decision, Joe Biden, while thumbing his nose at Trump, my decision reflects what coastal communities, businesses, and beachgoers have known for a long time. That drilling off these coasts could cause, not will, not may, not shall, could cause irreversible damage to places we hold dear and is unnecessary to meet our nation's energy needs. Biden said in a statement, it's not worth the risk. Biden, you're going to be dead in 5 years. Maybe not physically, but mentally dead in 5 years. If you're not already permanently living in adult diapers and having somebody spoon feed you, you will be in 5 years. How in the hell do you know what is and isn't worth the risk? How in the hell do you know what is the best for our country? You're not going to be here. The action, which CNN reported on Friday, invokes the 1953 Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act, a law that gives presidents broad authority to withdraw federal waters from future oil and gas leasing and development. The law does not give presidents explicit authority, but that, hey, if you got the authority to do, you got the authority to undo. To revoke the action and place federal waters back into development, meaning President-elect Donald Trump would have to get Congress to change it before he could reverse Biden's move. No, he didn't have to get Congress to change it. He could go before courts. Take it before the court. Now, granted, right now he's got the House and Senate both. But the question is, will the House and Senate Republicans play nice and do it? Nevertheless, Trump on Monday said in an interview he would try to undo the action. Look, it's ridiculous. I'll unban it immediately, Trump said in a radio interview on the Hugh Hewitt show. Man, I haven't listened to Hugh Hewitt in a long time. I need to. As Biden's presidency draws to a close, environmental and climate groups, left-wing tree huggers who are the biggest hypocrites. There is no bigger hypocrite than a Democrat or a liberal. And these groups here are both. They are the biggest of the left-wing hypocrites. Why am I saying that these environmental and climate groups are hypocrites? How many of them are buying off-the-shelf clothing? Hmm? Polyesters. How many of them wear North Face clothing made from oil or oil products? How many of them wear glasses made from oil or oil products? How many of them drive cars made with oil or oil products? Or they drive EVs. Oh, I'll drive an electric car. Yeah, that strips the land of all the heavy materials needed to make those batteries. Have you seen the ecological damage done? And by the way, it still takes oil or oil products or coal to generate the electricity to power that EV. So you're not being more environmentally conscious. You want to be environmentally conscious? Walk or ride a horse, ride a donkey. That'll show me you're being environmentally conscious. But if you're driving a car, riding in a car, you're not being environmentally conscious. You're buying your clothes off the rack. You're not being environmentally conscious. You own an iPhone. Oh, you own an iPhone. Good. You're not being environmentally conscious. So don't give it to me. Don't lie to me. Don't hold yourself out to be holier than thou and that you're environmentally conscious, that you're a climate expert or anything else, unless you're living that dream 100%. Oh, but you don't understand. In today's society, it's hard. I got news for you. The Amish have been doing it for centuries. The Amish, right here in the United States, have been doing it for centuries. I'm talking the old school Amish, not the Mennonites, not the Reform. I'm talking the old school Amish. They've been doing it for centuries. Why do you think, they the horse and buggy back and forth. They do all their traveling on horse and buggy. You want a barn raising party? Watch the Amish raise a barn. There's no gasoline powered motors out there doing any of that. How do they warm their houses in the winter? They've gone out and cut down trees and chopped up wood. So, yeah, don't go telling me that you can't live your environmental, climate aware lifestyle. The Amish have been doing it for a long time. Anyway, environmental and climate groups have advocated for him to withdraw from the areas off the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So the other points of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, given the areas permanent protections from future drilling. The move would guard against future oil spills and against adding more planet warming pollution from fossil fuels to the atmosphere. So, anyway, Biden's new protections would add to this bipartisan history, including President Trump's previous withdrawals from the southeastern U.S. in 2020. Our treasured coastal communities are now safeguarded for future generations. No, they're not. You're living in a damn dream world. Because, like I said, right now, depending on if he can get Congress to play nice, he can have a bill on his desk in a matter of a few weeks at most, days at the very soonest. Ready for him to sign to change that law. He can be in front of the courts at the same time. He can go ahead, take his executive action, let the Democrats sue him for it, and get it before the courts in no time. And that would be, and meanwhile, get Thune and old Mikey to do their jobs in the House and Senate. Still, Trump's incoming press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, lambasted the decision, writing on a post on X, "This is a disgraceful decision designed to exact political revenge on the American people who gave President Trump a mandate to increase drilling and lower gas prices. Rest assured, Biden will fail and we will drill, baby, drill." So once again, Biden thumbs his nose at Trump as Trump's getting ready to take office. He promises to get the wall built. What's Biden start doing? Selling off pieces of the wall for pennies on the dollar until Texas starts buying them, with the promise to hand them over to Trump for free to get the wall built. Now, as far as I know, Biden is still trying to sell off pieces of the wall. But that's a thumbing of the nose. And now this. Then going after 200 more people. Meanwhile, has the Department of Justice gone after one person? How many of these protesters, these pro-Gazan protesters, has the Department of Justice gone after? The ones who deface public monuments. 13 days, 1 hour and 10 minutes, give or take. Hey, morning, Digi. But yeah, there is a problem there. And the real question is, how much more, what else is Biden going to do in these last 13 days? That he's legally allowed to do, he is still president. There are no restrictions on the president after the election. There's no restrictions on what a president can or can't do after the count of the Electoral College. There are some people who've been advocating either shortening the time period between November's election and the counting of the electoral votes, and the swearing in of the new president. But with that would also have to go the swearing in of the new Congress. And then, that would also shorten the amount of time that the new president would have in building his staff to have his staff ready to go on day one. So I see a lot of problems with shortening the time period. Do we really want to restrict the powers of the president for 5 months? Or I'm sorry, for 2 months, 2.5 months. From the first week of November to the, January 20th. So do we really want to restrict a president's authority? That could be a bad thing. I personally, do we do as the Democrats do, cut off our noses to spite our face just because the Democrats do something? A Democrat president takes advantage and intentionally takes actions to thwart the plans of the incoming president? Do we really want to get that petty? I don't think we do. Now, the Democrats are going to cheer what Biden does. They're going to cheer what he does regardless because they hate Trump already. They hate Trump so much that whether, they can't think past their hatred for Trump. I can only hope that no Republican president takes these same steps when the Democrats follow them. If the Democrats want to be the party of petty actions, of acting like children instead of adults, I mean, if these things were so serious, why didn't Biden do them in the past 4 years? He's only taken these steps since Trump's been elected. So that throws out, to my mind, that throws out any possibility of this being a mature, well thought out decision. It throws that right out. This is pettiness, it's vindictiveness. It's like that ex-wife that wants the dog, not because she wants the dog, but because you do. Because that dog was your best friend. So coming up in the divorce, she's going to fight hell and high water for that dog. Or make you pay through the nose to get it. And that's exactly what I'm seeing here with the Biden administration on their way out. I thought the Clinton administration, when GW won, and they had their people remove all the W keys off the keyboards in the White House and Oval Office. I thought that was pretty damn petty. Funny, but petty still. Or petty and funny. It would have been funnier if they would have left the keys in a plastic bag somewhere. But if memory serves me correctly, they threw the keys away. So, that's being damn petty. But at least it wasn't damaging. It didn't thwart plans that GW had announced. And GW won that. I mean, when a new president is coming in, that means the American people voted for him. So is this really a good look on the Democrats? When you got a new president come in and you're intentionally taking steps to hinder the new president from doing what he promised to do, that the American people voted for them to do? I mean, did I vote for Trump for his drill baby drill? That was one of the things I voted for him. One of the reasons. Not a major reason. But man, I'd sure love to see gasoline get back under $2 a gallon again. Way under $2 a gallon. I'd definitely love to see that. But are we going? But there are many other reasons why I personally voted for Trump. But it does make me angry when presidents, when people, and then get cheered for it, act this way. These are supposed to be the people that we elected to represent us and to make decisions that affect all of us. It's pretty much been that unwritten rule of presidents, sort of like that letter that an outgoing president leaves on the desk for the incoming president. What? Wishing them good luck. But it's been an unwritten rule that the outgoing president doesn't intentionally screw over the incoming president. But like so many other things that Biden has done and that the Democrats have done, they've just taken it to a new low. Now, I haven't seen a bunch of pushback on this online or in the media. That doesn't mean it's not there. I just haven't seen it. The thing is, Josh, that's the most radical of the left that does that is that way. I know people that voted for Joe the first time voted against Trump. They weren't voting for Joe, they were voting against Trump that voted for Trump this time. Because they said that, the policies that he pushed hurt them. And then when, they were offered the choice of voting for Kamala, they just got scared. So it's only the most radical of the radical that's that way. And that's what the Democratic Party is turning into. Unfortunately, what that also means is that the Republican Party, in absorbing the even the more moderate Democrats, has shifted left. Because there's things that our Republican Party have voted for that I disagree with and strongly disagree with. They're, the way they're so wishy-washy on certain subjects. Y'all know I wasn't a big fan of Matt Gaetz as a person. I thought he was pretty scumballish. Same way with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. I'm not big fans of these people as individuals. But they were much more conservative than Johnson and many other Republicans in the Republican leadership. So, okay. I beat that horse until he's dead and he's not coming back alive. Yeah, you're right about that, Josh. Remember a couple weeks ago, Biden, the largest commutation ever. And he commuted all but 2 of the federal death row prisoners to life in prison. And the 2 that he didn't commute, as it turned out, one was the guy that killed all the people at the church. And then the other one, I think, was the guy that killed some people in a synagogue. Killed the black people in a church, and then the other one. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Two federal death row inmates refused Biden's commutation and continued fight to prove their innocence. Shannon Agofsky, 53, and Len Davis, 60, said in court documents they never requested commutation. Two of the 37 inmates on federal death row whose sentences were commuted to life are rejecting the clemency. Both these Shannon and Len, both in the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana, are refusing to sign the paperwork to accept the president's clemency due to the legal avenues that they are afforded on death row. The pair filed emergency motions in federal court on December 30th, requesting an injunction to block the change to the death sentences, saying accepting the commutations would remove the heightened scrutiny that death penalty appeals receive. Heightened scrutiny is the legal process in which the courts examine cases like death penalty appeals closer for errors, because these cases are literally a matter of life or death. To commute his sentence now while the defendant has active litigation in court is to strip him of protections of heightened scrutiny. This constitutes an undue burden and leaves the defendant in a position of fundamental unfairness, which would decimate his pending appellate procedures. Davis, a former New Orleans police officer, has always maintained that having a death sentence would draw attention to the overwhelming misconduct against the Justice Department. As Davis noticed, the law in this case is quite murky, and there's no guarantee the two inmates can have their death sentences restored. In 1927, the Supreme Court ruled a president may grant reprieves and pardons without the convict's consent. Both inmates wrote in their filings that they never requested a commutation. Now they're going to go on what the charges against them were. Davis was the guy that, yeah, okay, I remember this case now because I went over it. Davis was the guy that accused of killing Kim Groves, who had filed a complaint against him as a police officer. So, anyway, these two guys believe they are innocent and should not be have gotten the death penalty, and they do not want to accept these commutations because, like they said, they're not going to get these heightened scrutiny by the appeals courts or the Supreme Court. And that's why, when we were talking about these, when Biden was first passing all these commutations and pardons out, and he was talking about offering pardons to Liz Cheney. What crime was at the time we were all wondering what crime was Liz Cheney going to have to plead guilty to in order to accept the pardon? Well, now we know what it is: witness tampering and destruction of official documents for her role in the January 6th committee. And I'm hoping, Biden just gave her the Freedom Medal. I'd like to see her be hanging that Freedom Medal or hang a picture of that Freedom Medal up on the wall of her prison cell. Let her do a couple years in prison. I've got nothing against Dick Cheney. I mean, he's not one of my favorite politicians, don't get me wrong. But as far as I know right now, or I can remember right now, Dick Cheney didn't break any laws like his daughter has. Dick Cheney played dirty, yes. But he played dirty in protecting GW and the Republican Party. He played politics. He didn't, as a Republican, backstab other Republicans or his president like Liz Cheney did and Adam Kinzinger did. And I'm hoping like hell that Adam Kinzinger is also involved in the destruction of government of these documents, as well as every Democrat and Nancy Pelosi that had any dealings with that committee. I'd love to see them all brought up on charges and sentenced to a couple years in prison. Let's see them all go down as felons. That wouldn't break my heart one bit. Okay, I don't think I will be still streaming to catch the whatever Trump's going to be saying. Okay. That worked out. All right. Old Zuckerberg, the reptile leader himself, ending the fact-checking program to restore free expression to Facebook and Instagram. Amazing how that's happening just as Trump is coming into office. He spent 4 years, 8 years. He spent 8 years protecting Democrats and going after Republicans. And now all of a sudden he vows to restore free expression on Facebook and Instagram. Meta is ending its fact-checking program and lifting restrictions on speech to restore free expression across Facebook, Instagram, and Meta platforms, admitting its current content moderation practices have gone too far. I honestly thought they admitted that back during the congressional hearings. I could have swore he admitted back then during congressional hearings, old Zuck himself admitted they went too far. Now, I'm not on Facebook. I don't post on Facebook. I don't post nothing about my personal life. I download pictures of my grandbabies, make a few comments on that. Every now and again, I'll pop over to see what some friends, people that I served with, or childhood friends, what they say they got going on. One of whom is an actor making pretty good name for himself. But yeah, no, I don't. I don't spend time on Facebook discussing politics. Just never saw that as a place to do it. But people will discuss what they want to discuss where they want to discuss it, and Facebook. We're going back to our roots. Okay, come on. And focusing on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our programs. More specifically, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X starting in the US. Now, community notes is a good thing because it gives you a chance a lot of times to go back and source other material. Meta's third-party fact-checking program was put in place after the 2016 election. Oh, geez. Surprise, surprise. And had been used to manage content and misinformation on its platforms, largely due to political pressure, but admitted the system has gone too far. Yeah, when the Democrats were sitting there with people in the offices of Meta and Twitter, Facebook, and these other groups dictating what's going on. Yep. We went to independent third-party fact checkers. It has become clear there is too much political bias in what they chose to fact check because basically they get to fact check whatever they see on the program. Oh, geez, surprise, surprise. I mean, it only took you 8 years to figure out. It only took you 12 years to figure out there was too much political bias in your fact checkers? The rest of us knew that right away. We could tell that in just a few months. It didn't take us years to figure that out. Instead of going to some so-called expert who relies on the community and the people on the platform to provide their own commentary to something they've read. Noting that if a note gets support from the broadest cross-section of users, that note can be attached to content for others to see. We think that's a much better approach than relying on so-called experts to bring in their own biases into the program. Kaplan also told Fox News that Meta is changing some of its own content moderation rules, especially those that they feel were too restrictive and not allowing enough discourse around sensitive topics like immigration, trans issues, and gender. Oh, you mean you're actually going to let conservatives have a voice? On immigration? Oh my God, surprise, surprise. I mean, Meta is too big. I mean, it's not going to go away. It's not any near risk of collapsing and dying and going by the way of a half dozen other social media outlets. We want to make sure that discourse can happen freely on the platform without fear of censorship. We have the power to change the rules and make them more supportive of free expression. We're not changing the rules, we're actually just changing on how we enforce the rules. So that ought to be interesting to see. The rules are staying the same. You're just going to change how you're going to enforce them. So you're not going to enforce them at all? Like, you don't enforce them against the one side, you do on the other. So you're not going to enforce them against either side? Or you're going to enforce them more strictly, enforce the one side more strictly than what you used to? See, that's not an answer. We have the power to change rules and make them supportive. We're not changing the rules. You have the power to change them, you're just not going to do it. Or am I reading, and we're not just changing the rules? Okay, I misread that. We're not just changing the rules, we're changing on how we enforce the rules. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I had a brain glitch there for a second. The current Meta currently uses an automated system, which he said makes too many mistakes, remove contents that doesn't even violate our standards. Now, I have posts pulled nearly every day, and I appeal it. And some of the posts get pulled for violating terms of service within seconds of me making it. So I appeal it, and a half hour later or so, every time but one, I've won my appeal, and the post was put back. And the one time I didn't win my appeal is for a post that I'd made very similar post to in the past and had won the appeal on. So I mean, personally, unless what you're saying violates the laws, violates laws, actual laws, you should be able to post anything you want to post. I mean, these companies have 230 protection. And as long as they can also say that we only pull posts, we only moderate posts that violate established law, American law, not damn British law. Did y'all see where that guy last week was arrested in England? Because he reposted what someone else had posted. And what he reposted made somebody else anxious and gave him anxiety. So he was arrested for it. Unbelievable. What he said, what he did, they weren't even his words. He just reposted it. And not the guy that originally made the post. He was the one arrested. We have a new administration coming in that is far from pressuring companies to censor and is more of a huge supporter of free expression. It gets us back to the values that Mark founded the company on. So he's basically admitting that, the Democrats and Biden, but the Democrats, they push the hell out of them to moderate voices and posts that they didn't like. Last year, Zuckerberg sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee in which he admitted that he felt pressure from the Biden administration, particularly with regard to COVID content and even things like satire and humor. Trump is uh, I don't want to get in trouble again. So we'll have comments on Trump's speech later. Now this here when I was talking about Republicans. This is, not all Republicans are conservatives. And this coming up is one of the Republicans that I'm talking about. Let come on. She's a Republican out of Miami. And a couple years ago, what am I doing here? A couple years ago, she brought to the floor something she called the Dignity Act. All right. And the Dignity Act 2023. This here's what she says she wants to do with it. She wants funding for border infrastructure and equipment. All right, great. Let's get that border protected. Technology upgrades, acquisitions, research and development, task force, requiring to construct and deploy enhanced barriers, a 5-year technology plan, technology upgrades, but no funding for restarting the construction of the border wall or similar cross-border barriers. Why not? Why not build the damn wall? Like I've said many times, I want 2 walls built. I want them built with a 100-foot gap between them. And the Border Patrol to be constantly patrolling between the 2 walls. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that, guys. More personnel for the Border Patrol. I agree. Investments in border communities codifies the newly created shelter and services to ensure local governments and non-governmental agencies to assist with arriving migrants. There's no, absolutely not. A migrant should not be housed at government. An illegal should not be housed at government expense. You're deported. You're kicked back across the border. No housing. You cross the border illegally, you get back across that border illegally. You go back. You came across. You go right back. You don't have papers to say that you don't have a visa to come into the country. You don't come in the country. You don't have ID. You don't come in the country. I don't care why you came from someplace, where you came from, or anything else. You don't have a visa, you don't have an ID, you don't come across that border. replacing the current definition of operational control, which is statutorily defined prevention of all unlawful entries, an unrealistic and unworkable metric. Refine it to operational advantage. Bullshit. No. Leave it that prevention of all. We don't want any illegals coming in the country. As soon as you say, well, our goal isn't to prevent all, but it's only to prevent 90%. Oh, we didn't make 90%. Oh, well, maybe we need to lower to 80%. Damn it, we didn't even make 80%. Well, maybe we need to reduce it to 70%. No, the goal is to prevent all 100% of unlawful entries, 100% of illegal entries, 100%. Nothing less is acceptable. You let 10%, you let people cross that border illegally. You didn't do your job correctly. What more did you need to do your job correctly, prevent them? What more needs to be done to prevent it? Southern Border Threat Analysis requires Homeland Security to develop an assessment of potential threats. Why do we need a bill to tell them to do that? I thought that was their damn job. Homeland Security. Why do we need to tell Homeland Security to do threat analysis along our borders and along our coastways? That's part of the damn job. Why should DHS expand and modernize ports of entry? Shouldn't that be up to the local ports to modernize and to work with DHS to ensure that what they're doing fits security? I mean, that ports are not cheap to come in through them. See, this is just handing out our money, got taxpayer dollars. For something these ports should be doing on their own. They charge ships for coming into those ports. They don't get to come into that port for free. They get charged for it. The shipping company gets charged. If they're not charging enough, raise the damn fees. Legal status for undocumented individuals. Right there, you know I don't like her. I do not like her when she uses undocumented stuff, illegals. Call them what they are, illegals. Creates a dignity program and dignity legal status. No. Deport them. That's the only legal status they need, deported. Dignity status would grant undocumented illegals, people in the United States, legal status. No, they don't get legal status. Along with work and travel authority. No, the only work authority, the only authority they get is to be escorted across the border. And grant them permanently renewable legal status for as long as they meet criteria. This would bring up to 11 million undocumented people out of the shadows. 11 million. I'm going to say right now that's low ball. We're probably looking at closer to 15 to 20 million. That's low ball. After the past 4 years of Joe Biden, that's low ball. I'd go. I think I'd be more right saying 20 million than she is at saying 11. Participation in the program required dignity beneficiaries pay $5,000 over a course of 7 years. The duration of the program, as well as pass a criminal background check, pay outstanding taxes, and begin or continue paying taxes. Once again, no, deport their asses. Deport them. Certified agricultural worker creates a renewable status for undocumented illegal agricultural workers. Once again, no. We have a program for migrant workers who want to come across the border to work as migrant workers, agricultural workers, and then go back to Mexico. We actually have a program that does that. We don't need to do this for illegals. We don't. Once again, my answer, the only answer that should be when it comes to illegals is how fast can we get them back across the border? Either their own violation or escorted across. And what can we do to make it so they don't want to enter our country illegally? Pathways to citizenship. Once again, not only no, but hell no. None of these programs, none of them. No, I do not want somebody that entered the country illegally to serve in the American military. Absolutely not. So the pathway to citizenship, a huge red X through all that entire thing. Regional processing, asylum reform directs for the construction of 5 facilities in Latin America to offer services for asylum seekers. No, we've got embassies already. If they want to seek asylum, let them go to the embassy to do it. But Shroom, there's a line. Too damn bad. Too bad. Let them seek asylum in the new country. They're escaping Honduras to Mexico. Let them seek asylum to Mexico, a country of similar language, similar culture. They don't have to come here and complain that they aren't getting uncultural foods. But damn it, they don't have. I don't care what they have or don't have. If they're seeking asylum, let them seek asylum in the closest country, not United States. Humanitarian campuses. And what the hell is a humanitarian campus? The credible fear interview. Yeah, that credible fear interview is a freaking joke. It's an unbelievable joke. All they got to do is say the right words. Yep, yep, yep. You said the right words in the right order. Yes, you have a credible fear, so you get to stay. And where do they get those right words? The CFI will be administered within first 15 days, but not before a 72-hour rest period and after having an opportunity to consult with legal counsel. Who's going to pay for that legal counsel? Who's going to pay for it? The American taxpayer? Or some NGO, some organization that wants to have as many of these people come into our country as possible? When I say these people, I'm talking about illegals. To have as many illegals in our country as possible. So they teach them what these credible fear words are that they need to say. Because those who are unable to establish credible fear will be removed. Yeah, well, when you teach them the right words to say, none of them will be removed. No. The additional asylum officers directs DHS to have no less than 500 asylum officers available across the humanitarian campuses. No, if they are seeking asylum, allow them to seek asylum in a foreign country. And it should be real simple. Why do you need to go to the United States for asylum? Why can't you have asylum here in Mexico? Why can't you have asylum here in Puerto Rico or wherever you're at? Well, you'd rather go to. No, that's not the question. Why do you have to go to the United States for asylum? Why can't you seek asylum here? Well, they refused me asylum. Then we're going to refuse you asylum. If you can't come up with a reason why you can't have asylum in another country besides the United States, then we don't need to be granting you asylum to the United States. Family reunification. Reunify on the other side of the border. Thank you much. Loan repayment. You mean another repayment program that the president can sit there and wave his magic fingers and, while we're going to forgive these loans like Biden just has done with student loans? Nah. Okay, Digi, you have a good day now, okay? Try to stay out of trouble. E-Verify, finally, something I can agree with. Maybe. Implements E-Verify. No, it should be, okay, January 1st. Everybody has to go through E-Verify, or October 1st. As opposed to requiring the Dignity Act requires undocumented. No, illegals do not get E-Verify. Absolutely not. That purpose of E-Verify is to keep illegals from working in the United States by stealing other people's social security numbers or identities. That is the purpose of E-Verify. Backlogs. Cut the visa backlog to a maximum of 10 years. Sorry, no. If they've been waiting for more than 10 years, they'll automatically get that visa. Nope, sorry. That don't work that way. People don't automatically get a visa just because they waited. They've been waiting 10 years to get that visa. That means there's something wrong with their visa application. Raising visa caps. The per country visa cap set in 1990 from 7 to 15%. Under current law, no country can receive more than 7% of the total number of employment-based or family-sponsored preference visas each year. I'd say reduce it, actually. Reduce it from 7 to 4% instead of raising it. Protects children from aging out visas due to delays. No. Sorry, once again. See, this is a Republican I cannot agree with because she pushed this last year and she's going to push it again. Let me give you a link to this mess. Oh, wow. Is that the way Section 8 works, Raman? I did not know that. Well, like I said, this woman, Maria Elvira Salazar, out of Miami. There is more things in there that's liberal Democrat than there are conservative. I'd say at least 75% of that bill that she's pushing would never get past a conservative, while 75% of it Democrats would back up to the hilt. She claims here in her Twitter post that she made that the Dignity Act is not amnesty. Nonsense. Dignity Act is amnesty. What we have now is not enforcing the laws that are on the books. Let us spend 20 years enforcing the laws that are on the books today. Get the border wall built and stopping, okay? I've said this before, I'll say it again. E-Verify. Illegals and the children of E-Verify, get rid of the sui generis. I mispronounced that, I'm sorry, but born on American soil makes you an American citizen. Get rid of that. At least one of the DNA proven parents has to be an American citizen before that child can be considered an American citizen. At least one. One of the two parents, biological parents, has to be an American citizen. That's why I said DNA proven. One of the two biological parents has to be an American citizen before that child gets citizenship automatically on their birth. All right. No free schools. You're not an American citizen, you don't get to go to school. Sorry. You're here illegally, you don't get, let me rephrase, if you're here illegally, you don't get to go to American schools. If you're here as a diplomatic, as a child of diplomats or a guest worker or anything like that, okay, then there is a fee to attend American schools. I mean, taxpayers shouldn't pay for non-citizens to be attending our schools. That's not the way it should work. American citizens should not. Only American citizens are counted in the census. There are only, let me rephrase this. Only American citizens are counted in the census towards representation in the Congress. Should we know how many non-citizens are living in the United States? Yes. But only American citizens count towards representation. If you're not an American citizen, you don't get counted towards it. Let's see. Anyway, the dreamers are all youngish, healthy, strong men. No distressed women are seeking to say, yeah. I do find that, Raman, you bring up a good point there. It is rather unique that most of the people fleeing, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 10-to-1 are young men and not young women. That is rather interesting, isn't it? What did the wife set the furnace to this morning? Oh, she shut the furnace off when she left. No wonder it's getting cold in here. Or I just kicked the furnace back on. No wonder I was getting chilly. And let's see, what else? I mean, I've got, if you're here illegally, should you be able to work? No. And you see, if we take away the public housing from illegals, we take away their ability to work by requiring E-Verify. And a part of that, any company that has illegals on their books lose government contracts and pay fines. Oops. Yeah, I'm not above telling these companies that you've got to verify that the people you're hiring are in this country legally. Reduce H-1B visas. Bachelor's degree? No. Make it minimum master's degree. Make it a minimum that they have to have a master's degree in a specialized field, and that the field that they're being hired in is directly related to that master's degree. I mean, they got a master's degree in communication, then you better be hiring them in a communications role. After you've proven you couldn't find any Americans that could fill that role. That there were no Americans that wanted to come work for your company in that role. Then the onus is on the company to prove it, because they're the ones asking for the H-1B visa. You show me where you've had help wanted ads out there for at least 6 months and you've had no responses. Yeah, there's a whole lot I'd love to do to reform our immigration system. This is one of the areas where I completely go against a lot of the people in the Republican Party. So anyway, ladies and gents, I've got a doctor's appointment here in an hour, and I need to go get a shower. So y'all try to have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. No stream tomorrow unless something absolutely earth-shattering happens between now and then. So I'll be back on Thursday. Raman, I hope you're feeling better soon. Josh, I hope you're staying warm. I know you said you had plenty of propane to keep your trailer warm. I hope it works. And everybody, have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Stay warm. And of course, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. And we'll see you on Thursday. Bye, y'all.